Hello,
Hi.
Miriam.
Hey.
Hey, nice to have you here with us at the Interviews with the Experts video
Great to be
series of
here.
de Poder. Yes, finally we're meeting. So,
Yeah.
we are talking today about procrastination and embodiment. And I would like to start with you telling us a little bit more about your experience, what motivated you to become a therapist, a business consultant. If you can recall, like that first spark of inspiration that made you uh, feel this is my way, that led you to this moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Okay, this is a really great question. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, thank you for having me. I am really excited to be connecting with you and with your audience. So yes, my name is Maegan Megginson, and I have been a psychotherapist for about 10 years. And that really is where I've done all of my training in embodiment and learning how to really feel into our bodies and how to make decisions that help us live lives that are really in alignment with who we are and what we want, not just what the world tells us to do. Um, and it's, through my own process being a therapist and running businesses as a therapist, I discovered that, what I really love to do is to help people build businesses using my lens as a therapist, right? So taking my knowledge about being in the body and listening to your own intuition, working through your past stories, using that information to inform the way you build a business so that you can really live life on your own terms and show up in all areas of your life as your full self. So my own journey, the moment you're asking about of when did I realize I wanted to do this work was really when I was in the process of growing my therapy business. I was hiring other therapists to work in my practice, and I was just so burnt out and so exhausted, and I was following all of the advice that the business coaches and the business mentors were telling me to do. I was like, I'm doing what they're saying to do, but it's not working for me, right? I'm exhausted. I'm burnt out. I'm not in my body at all. And I realized through my own process of recovering that there had to be a different way for entrepreneurs to build businesses. And I started to figure that out. And as I figured it out, I started sharing it with other people. And now I'm here today talking to you about that exact same thing. How do entrepreneurs build businesses, not the way they think they're supposed to, but the way that feels the best for them and for their bodies?
Exactly. To build businesses the way that feels the best for them in their own terms. I like your story a lot, and it um, moved me that you said um, getting in touch with your body, getting in connection with your body, and making decisions. And there's like a culture to do it the other way around, like listen to your thoughts or listen
Mm,
to what other people say it's good or you should or you shouldn't, and leave your body aside, like the
hmm.
no pain no gain. So
Yes.
how what is a way to reframe that, like how can you recover the trust in your body, in your feelings,
Mm,
in this connection, just like
hmm.
an entry level insight that you could share with us?
Oh, that is such a profound question, right? How do we basically shed the societal conditioning that, we've all been victim to, right? And it's capitalism and patriarchy and white supremacy and all of these systems that have really conditioned us to believe that we have to grind and hustle and listen to the people who have more power than we do and do what they say and follow the instructions. And you hinted at this, learning to really listen. I always think, am I listening from the top down or am I listening from the bottom up? Right? So
What
the top down.
image? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it helps me. Am I listening to messages that are coming in from the world and into my body, or am I in my body listening to my own intuition and letting that information rise to the surface. And my tidbit here, which is challenging, is that it takes time and it takes practice. So there's no switch that we can just flip on and reverse this pattern. It really is, it's a lifetime of small moments of really mindfully learning to pause and take a breath and say, hey, before I do X, let me just check in with myself and see if this feels like the right thing for me to do right now. And maybe if it doesn't, I'll just experiment with doing it in a different way instead of defaulting automatically to what I think I'm supposed to do.
Yes, yes. That's a wonderful insight, because it makes me think that building your business in this way, like from the bottom out, from the knowing of your body and what you are truly about, then what you see outside is the most authentic expression of yourself, instead of being the other way around, like be living in the grid of a societal demand and patriarchy and rule list, and having a body that is like captured in that frame, with low back, with frustration, with lack of creativity. I like a lot like this reframe. Can you tell us a little bit more about how do you see procrastination? How do you reframe procrastination? Because it's connected with this. What I understood from your post is that we often feel that we are procrastinating, as in general, without examining if those to-do lists that we are procrastinating actually respond to a true decision from oneself, and not just respond to trying to obey an external pattern, societal authority that maybe it's not even there, no? So tell us about how procrastination can actually be a good thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you were hinting at this a moment ago that we're taught from little children to be self-sufficient, right? It's like you need to be able to do everything yourself, and you need to work hard. So if you just work hard and, break your back, metaphorically or maybe literally, doing what you think you're supposed to be doing, like that's the marker of success. Success is someone who can, pull themselves up by their bootstraps and make it all happen. So there's this conditioning that really makes us feel like we need to do it all ourselves. And this is, as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, I think we are very susceptible to this conditioning that we need to be able to do it all ourselves. And in that vein, we are taught that procrastination is a really bad habit, right? Like weak people procrastinate. People who aren't successful, losers procrastinate, right? It's just the image, the connotation of the word procrastination is so very negative. It's become a character judgment instead of a data point. Right. So I like to think about procrastination, an indicator, right? Not as a sign about my character or about my ability to be successful. It's just a data point, right? It's if I'm procrastinating on something, it probably means that I don't really want to do the thing. It might mean that I don't know how to do the thing. It might mean that one person alone cannot do the thing. Right. And all of those, no matter what the reason is that you're procrastinating, the answer is probably that you need support to get the thing done. You don't need to be singularly responsible for doing every single thing that your business needs in order to thrive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And it makes me think that it's also a work of relationability, in a way of relating to yourself to your sensations, to the information that you are getting from yourself and the outside, and from there also practicing relating to other people, because sometimes we don't ask help because we think that that will demerit us, that will make us like less heroes,
Yeah,
which is actually like protecting a martyr mentality in a way.
totally.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and also reaching out for help requires the humility of the mentality of a student that is willing to,
Mm-hmm.
and in a way learning
Oh, good point.
means growing and also
Mm-hmm.
relating to other people. But relating to other people, it's unavoidable, but it's also challenging. And I like a lot this view of understanding that maybe you're procrastinating because you're not meant to do that thing and someone needs to do that for you. But it means that you have also, well, you are invited to find a way to relate to another person, to build like a mutual network of support. And
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
leads to you being an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
How about
Mm.
introversion, extroversion much, except for an MBTI test that I took? It seems that I am almost introvert, but more extroverted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it makes me think that if you're introverted, you don't like to connect much with people. I don't know if that's
Mm-hmm.
the case. So maybe you could share some light on what does being introvert means, and
Mm-hmm.
how can you relate better. And also, if
Mm-hmm.
you're introvert, maybe there. I don't know if extrovert people are the ones that are over the top, talking all the time, not listening. So yeah. So how do you connect that relation ability with
Mm-hmm.
letting go of procrastination and being like more connected with your body, with being more embodiment? Just a
Yeah.
way of wrapping up this wonderful conversation that we are having.
Absolutely. Well, introversion and extroversion is a huge topic, and you can look at it from many different angles. But for me, the core important pieces of the paradigm are the people who are more introverted. Um, it drains our energy to interact with other people.
Yeah,
People who are extroverted, it recharges their batteries to
yeah,
interact with other people. It doesn't have anything to do with being shy
uh-huh,
or being outspoken. It really just is like what charges my batteries and what drains my batteries. So it is true, I find, that entrepreneurs who are more introverted um, really resist the need to get support, right? To
yeah,
hire to hire staff or to find virtual assistants, because two reasons. The first reason is they're like, oh, I don't want to have to interact with somebody day in
yeah,
and day out. That sounds really exhausting. And I think the second part of that for many introverts is there can be some fear or resistance to conflict, right? They tend to be a little more conflict avoidant. So the thought of having to discipline a staff member or fire someone or tell someone they're not doing a good job feels really stressful.
yeah,
But on the flip side of that coin, introverts tend to be really fantastic connectors, right? So introverts often have the ability to really create and cultivate deep and meaningful one-on-one personal relationships. So we are primes, like we're actually in a wonderful position
yeah,
to create a team of people who are supporting us in building our businesses because we know how to build meaningful relationships. But we also have to learn the necessary skills around management. So, and
yeah,
we have to learn how to have good boundaries. We have to learn how to give feedback. We have to learn how to manage people. Uh, but bringing it back to embodiment,
yeah,
I feel the most joy as an entrepreneur managing a team when I'm doing it from my body, right? When I am showing up with authenticity, when I'm setting boundaries for myself that feel aligned with what I need, when I'm showing up as my full self with the people on my team, right? When I'm using myself in relationship with people who work for me, it is an enjoyable experience. When I'm top down, right? When I'm just doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing, or when I don't hire the right people,
Yeah.
having a team, asking for help does become more of a hassle than it's worth. So it all comes back to alignment. If you're in alignment with yourself, if you're showing up in a way that's really authentic for you, if you're asking for help and support with the right things, all of the pieces fall and they just click into place.
Yes.
And you're
Yes.
able to build a really successful business.
Wonderful. I love that view because it includes you, it includes the body, and that's like the most authentic part of ourselves. Instead of putting it out as this societal view that
Right.
fortunately is now changing, thanks to people
I'm
like
so
you and
glad.
people like very committed to working to a true authentic view of the body, the
Mm.
mind, the lifestyle, and put their wellness front and foremost. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Megan. I'm going to open the Q&A space to see if there's a brave one around that wants to make a question about embodiment, or we can make
Yeah.
each other do.
Well, while we're waiting for questions, I wanted just to speak to one thing you said a little while ago that I think was such a good point about, um, many times we struggle to ask for help because it is kind of an ego piece. Like we think we can do it best,
Yes.
or we say like, oh, well, I don't want to ask someone to help me with that because they'll never do it as good as I can do it. I hear this all the time. And I do think it's worth just naming like, that's a bunch of baloney. Like
Yeah.
that is not true. You are not the only person on this planet who can do that thing really well. So learning to be able to be humble and to accept that there are out there who can do certain tasks better than we can, I think it's a core part of learning how to outsource, especially around tasks that you're procrastinating on.
Yeah, like surrendering a little bit the competitive ego, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe even framing like very great leaders hire the people.
Okay.
You're finally back.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, how does an introvert feels with these kind of unexpected happenings?
Oh,
Does that affect or only
I don't.
interact?
I think I wouldn't. I'm hesitant to speak for all introverts, but I'll say, it's like, whatever. It's we're almost a year into the quarantine now, right? So we've sort of
Yeah,
adapted to everything being online, and that just comes with lots of tech errors. So roll with
yeah,
the punches.
online and unexpected. Yeah,
Yes, online and unexpected. That's good.
yeah. This era has brought so many challenges and also so many opportunities for looking inside. For like, if you're locked down, there's it gets harder to run away from yourself in a
That
way.
is so true. Let fewer distractions.
Yeah, fewer distractions, and also
Hmm.
your closer connections and relations like bloom positively like flowers, or
Hmm.
explode
Or negatively.
or negatively. Yeah, yeah, Megan. Procrastination. When did that insight came into your mind? It was like recently when you posted that wonderful caption and post, or you have been like thinking about procrastination for a long time.
I've been thinking about delegation for a long time, thinking about, why is this so hard? The
Yeah.
procrastination insight, I can't take credit for. that conversation for me was started when I was reading a book recently about delegation, and they had a whole section about procrastination and looking at it from different angles. And that for me really was the start of it was a big aha moment, like, oh yes, this is so spot on. This really resonates. And then I started to look at thing that I've been procrastinating on, and sure enough, when I looked at each item line by line, I could see someone else needs to be doing this. I don't have to do these things that I do.
The inside of procrastination that you were reading in a book.
Yeah, I mean, it was just basically that, you know, looking at, hey, procrastination is probably a signal that someone else, that you could delegate whatever you're procrastinating to some other person, that you are not the best person to do that task for your business. If you were, you would have done the task already. So, you know, I think the larger conversation here is about really giving ourselves permission as business owners to spend money, pay to do things for us that we don't want to do ourselves. And procrastination is just one data point, one little red flag that should indicate to you, hey, don't try to do this piece. Hand this to another person on your team to do it for you. And if you do that, if you start doing that systematically all the time, your business is going to grow much faster and will be more profitable because you are able to stay focused on the tasks and the projects that feel really exciting and energizing for you.
Yeah, I think that's so cute. Exciting and energizing. Those are physical experiences, and that
exactly
listening to your body. I have a question. Could you give us a tip to differentiate between procrastination and creative block? Like, because if you are a writer, if you love what you're doing and you are like have not been doing that supposedly you love, how would you know if you are procrastinating because you have grown out of that passion, or you are procrastinating, you're actually in a creative rut?
That's a really interesting question, and I think the answer lies in self-examination again, and probably just being able to ask yourself the question you just posed. Okay, self, let's really look at this. Let's face this. We've been procrastinating on, I don't know, let's just say writing this blog post now for 2 months. What's going on? You usually love to write blog posts. Why aren't you writing this post? And then I think you just have to pick it up and look at it from all different angles. Is it the topic? Is it this particular topic isn't bringing you joy, or it's not interesting to you? Is it that you no longer want to write, that you're at the point in your business where there's something else that is really calling your attention, and now's it's time to hire a copywriter to write these blog posts for you, right? Is there something else going on in your life? Are you depressed? Are you anxious? Are you struggling in your relationship? Is something happening that is kind of, you know, taking up all of your energy and attention? I think you just have to start to look at the thing from all different angles until you feel like you have an honest answer that comes from within about, why am I not doing this thing? And once you have the answer, hopefully it feels pretty easy to say, okay, what do I need to do about this? Do I need to hire this out? Do I need to get some extra emotional support? Do I need to change the topic of this blog and write about something that feels more interesting to me right now? I think that is the process that I would use to examine that particular problem.
It's okay that I ask myself the honest question, to examine, and like I can have this space within me to see the truth, as hard or as challenging that it can be, because if I have been writing all my life, or dancing, or making money, and the problem often of asking a question is that you can get the answer from yourself, And once you have the answer from yourself, once you face the truth, then you are confronted with yourself to take action or to decide. Either you take action or you don't take action. It's a decision. So you say it in such a way that made me feel like, oh, it's okay to look inside and make the hard questions. And the second
Exactly.
thing that was so interesting is how you made the question like, hey, what's going on? What I am not doing this, and it made me think, how do I talk to myself? Do I talk to myself like, hey Candia, or like, hey you, or like, we're gonna have a talk? So I don't know if I get my message across, but how? What can you tell us a little bit about um, self-talk? Like how is a good to talk to oneself? Because I think I have not been aware of this. I talk to myself all the time. I have an inner, non-stop inner discourse.
Dialogue. Mm-hmm.
But now I realize that most of the time that dialogue, it's like a to-do list, to say the least, and a very hard and strict judge that is telling me, do that,
Mm-hmm.
not enough. Generally, it's like negative. But I am so shocked with this insight. Like, is that voice mine? It's me that I am
Right.
talking like in that way, in an examined way. Well,
Yeah.
what would you say about that? That
I
exotic
think
insight.
I think that it's really important, first of all, that we all slow down and start to examine the dialogue that's happening inside of our heads, right? So slowing down and really just
Okay.
thinking first, how am I talking to myself? What are the messages that I'm saying to myself? And do I actually believe those? Or is that my voice, or is it someone else's voice or society's voice? So being able to slow down and really examine the thoughts that are spinning through your mind is a crucial skill. And if you follow that up with a practice of self-compassion, which is really the ability to talk to ourselves in a very kind and compassionate way. So instead of saying, oh, what's wrong with you? You're such a loser for not finishing all that work that you were supposed to do. You need to be working harder, right? Instead saying, oh, wow, you must be really stressed out. Look at all of the things that you wanted to do that you haven't been able to get to yet. I wonder what's going on. I wonder, like, let's just think about for a second, what's going on here that, it's causing you to be so far behind and to feel so much stress. So just that kind of
Wonderful.
pivot away from talking to ourselves as the judge, like you said, and instead approaching ourselves with curiosity and compassion. In my mind, the latter is always going to lead to more successful outcomes for me in my life.
Wonderful. You know, it makes me think and feel that self-compassion, it's a key element in actually being like very in touch with reality. Like, if you're like a good judge of, if even in the black and white, right and wrong performance view, then you need to see the whole picture. So your evaluation or examination is subjective, not only seeing the negative parts or the little details that didn't went right, that we perfectionists tend to focus on, no? The little spot on the wall that is not quite right, instead of evaluating the full picture and realizing that we are humans, first of all, and we are living in an ever-changing experience. And actually, the imperfections or even the unresolved issues or the things that we don't like about ourselves or the things that we are procrastinating and haven't evaluated are part of this changing experience. It's wonderful,
Exactly.
Maegan. You have shared so much with us. Well, especially with me, but for the people that, that will watch, that is here with us
Absolutely.
and that will watch the replay, there is so much gold here, so much
Well,
insights.
I appreciate the incredibly thoughtful questions that you're bringing to this conversation, and just really appreciate you creating this space to have these these really meaningful conversations. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. It's been a huge pleasure, man. I hope this
Same.
is the first live or interview we do. We'll keep in touch, and thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Uh, let us know, how can they reach you? How can my audience can know more about your work? What is your Instagram handle, your
Yeah, absolutely.
website? Do
So
you have
you can
maybe?
hop over to my Instagram profile off of this video. So my handle is Maegan Megginson, my name. Um, yeah, hop over to my Instagram profile. You can visit my website or sign up for my email list using the link in my bio, and feel free to reach out
Wonderful.
anytime if you need support.
Wonderful. Yeah, go reach Maegan. She's wonderful. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Maegan.
Thanks again for having
Touch.
me.